Now let's look at different data types that we have in Python. Data types specify the type of data that is stored in a particular variable. Since Python is an object-oriented programming, everything is an object in Python. And these data types are the classes, and the variables are considered as the instances or objects of these classes. We'll talk about the object-oriented programming when time comes. Now in Python, we have different basic data types like numbers, which consists of integers, floating point numbers, and complex numbers. We have strings, we have boolean values, and then none type. These are the basic data types that we have in Python. Of course, we'll look at different built-in data structures like lists, tuples, dictionaries, sets later in this course. Now let's look at these basic data types one by one. Let's start with numbers. We have already seen how to define a variable in the previous video. So to define a variable, I just need to have the variable name followed by equal to, which is assignment operator, then followed by the value. So here let's say I want to initialize this variable with an integer 10. Now I can print the value which is stored in the variable a. I can even print the type of variable a. So if you observe here, since everything is an object in Python and these data types are the classes, so when I print the type of the variable a, it prints class integer. So what it means is this a, the variable a, is an instance of class int, right? Now unlike in C language, there is no restriction on number of digits that I can have in an integer. So an integer can be a really long integer. You can have the integers of any length provided that it fits in your machine's memory. So even this integer can also be stored in Python. So if I print the value of b, I'll have this exact integer. If I want to print the type of b, it will show class int, right? So there is no restriction on number of digits you can have in an integer. So you can have really long integers provided that it fits in your machine's memory. Now we can have floating point numbers which has a decimal point. Let's say I have f is equal to 25.5. I have assigned this 25.5 to a variable f. Now if I want to print the type of variable f, it will give class float. That means f is an instance of class float. Generally it stores around 15 digits after the decimal point. So if I have something like this, f1 is equal to 25.12345 so on, I have 20 digits now after decimal point. Let's see what it stores in f1. So it has stored 15 digits after the decimal point. So it has stored till here and it has rounded off to the nearest digit. Now Python provides us with complex numbers. You can even define complex numbers in Python. These complex numbers are extensively used in mathematics, physics, and engineering in general. So this is how you define a complex number. It has a real part and it has an imaginary part. This is real and this is imaginary. Now if I want to print the type of variable c, it will show class complex. That means c is an instance of class complex. We can get the real and imaginary part by just having these methods of this object. We have real. You can print the imaginary part by calling this method c.image. These two methods return floating point numbers of the corresponding complex number. There is one more function called isInstance, which tells you whether a variable is of particular type or not. Let's say I have C, which is a complex number, and if I want to check whether C is of complex type or not, I can just give like this. It will return true if C is of complex type, otherwise it returns false. Let's say I want to check whether C is of integer type or not. Clearly C is complex, which is not integer, right? So it returns false. You can use this isInstance to get whether a variable is of a particular type or not. Now let's look at the next basic data type, string. In Python, a string is a sequence of Unicode characters. Unicode is a large collection of characters which also includes non-English characters. This is not ASCII character set, but it is Unicode character where you have characters from different languages, not only English, and special characters, different symbols, dialects, and it is way bigger than ASCII characters. We have this ASCII standard that we follow for other languages like C language, but Unicode characters are way bigger than this ASCII characters. Don't panic if you don't know what Unicode characters are. You will know about them in the later chapters. We can define a string in Python by enclosing that with single quote or double quotes. For example, here I have a variable A which is assigned with a string. This is an online course. So in this case, we have enclosed this string with double quotes, right? We can also do the same thing using single quotes. You can even enclose the string with single quote. Python treats both of them same. We can have a string spanning to multiple lines, and we can denote that using triple quotes. So here in this case, if you want to span a string in multiple lines, you need to enclose that particular string which is on multiple lines with 3 double quotes like this, or 3 single quotes like this. Now let's see Python strings in action. So I can define a Python string like this. This is an online course. If I want to print what is there in A, I can do so like this, and I can even print the type of variable A, which gives me class string. That means variable A is an instance of class string str. Now I can even have a string with single quotes. This is an online course. Here if I print B, it will give me the same result as A. If I want to span a string to multiple lines, I need to have 3 double quotes like this. This is an online course. Close it with 3 double quotes. And if I want to print what is there in C, so it has printed a new line character here, the same way that we have assigned this value. So here we have pressed enter, which makes the cursor to go into the next line and wait for our input. And we continue to give this online course and end the string with these 3 double quotes. And you can even create a multi-line string with 3 single quotes like this. So if I want to print D, it will give me the same exact way that I have assigned the variable with. Now you can even print the type of D, which gives me the class string. Now Python strings can also be indexed. That means we can get the character present at a particular position in that string. And similar to C language, the string starts with index 0. That means T is at index 0, H is at index 1, I is at index 2, S is at index 3 and this space is at index 4 and so on, right? In Python, always the indices start with 0. Even here, T starts with 0 and continues to the next character. Here space is at 4, this is at 5, this is 6, this is 7, 8, 9, and then there is a new line character which is at index 10, and it continues to the next line 11, 12, and so on, right? This is the end of the string and this will be the last index of this string, right? Using these indices, you can retrieve a character at any position in that string. So how do I do that? So here, if I want to print the character which is at index 0, I'll have to give like this. You can even print a of 1, a of 2, and so on. One interesting thing is you can get the last character of the string by giving -1. So if I give a -1, it will print the last character which is E, and a -2 will give me the second character from last which is S here, right? So it means you can even retrieve the characters from the end of the string. Now let's get back to the Python interpreter and see this in action. Let's print what I have in A, and let's print the character at index 0. It will print T. You can even print the character at index 1, index 2, and so on. Let's see what is at index 4. So here this is at 0, this is at 1, 2, 3, and space is at 4. So when I print a of 4, it will print space. So it doesn't show anything here, but there is a blank space here. You can even get the last character by giving -1. It will give you E, and if you do -2, this will give you S. One other way to print the last character is to get the length of A by using this function length A -1. This will give me the last character in this string, right? You can even get a substring out of this string. Let's say I want to get this substring out of this. I can just give the start index position and the end index position so that it will retrieve me all the characters from these start and end index positions. Python provides us with huge set of libraries to operate on strings. We'll learn about these libraries in detail in the later chapters. Now let's look at another basic data type called boolean. The boolean values represent the truth value of an expression. There are only two possible boolean values that are either true or false. Observe that true is starting with capital T, false is starting with capital F. These two are reserved words or keywords in Python. And boolean values are extensively used in conditional statements or control statements like if else and while loops. So in order to assign a boolean value true, I can just assign true to this, and if I want to print the type of variable A, it will give me class bool. That means A is an instance of class boolean. Currently you may not see much usage of these boolean values, but you will appreciate when you learn about different operators and control statements in the next chapter. There is one more basic data type called none. So this is used when you want to declare a variable but not assign any value to that. So let's say I want to have a variable called b in my environment, but I don't want this to be initialized with any value. So in that case, I just assign none to this. So the type of b will be none type. So the type of b will be decided based on what value you are assigning it with. Currently there is no value in that, so if you try to print the value of b, it is none, right? If I assign some string like PurpleLane, then the type of b will change to string, right? So when you want to declare a variable but not assign any value to that, then you can use none type. The none type is there just to represent the absence of value, right? So that's all about different basic data types that we have in Python.